So, welcome to Mazévo Connect for October. My name is Brian Peck, and I guess I'm kind of the MC for today, as I usually am at most of these Mazévo Connect sessions. If this is your first one, welcome. We're glad to see you. We do these every month. This month, we're going to be talking about how to keep your Mazévo data clean, which we're excited about. But before we do that, I do want to just make a few announcements, as we always do at the beginning of these. First off, I want to welcome one of our newest Mazévo customers to the fold, Ohio University. They just joined on a couple of weeks ago, so we're excited to have them. I'm not sure if anybody from Ohio University is on the call, but if you are, glad to have you. Um, also, want to just kind of mention the elephant in the room. As you probably know, we had a little bit of an outage, a little technical difficulty yesterday. And first off, just want to express that we sincerely apologize for any frustration that caused folks. We know for many of you, you were locked out of your system for a good chunk of the day yesterday. And so we just wanted to express that we are aware of that, and I do plan to publish a quick debrief maybe tomorrow on just kind of what happened once we kind of sift through everything there. But as many of you probably know, Microsoft had a outage on their Azure platform, and that's what Mazévo relies on to deliver the service to everybody that way. And so we just weren't able to log in. We were locked out of it as well. So we just kind of were at the mercy of, the outside forces there. But again, we appreciate everybody being understanding with that. We got notes from a lot of you, expressing that, and so we were really glad to see that. But yeah, we know that it was a tough day for a lot of folks. So. And unfortunately, that overshadowed our new feature that we just rolled out yesterday morning. So we had rolled out an update early yesterday morning with some cool new features in it for Mazévo. And the one we were most excited about was the new Data Glance dashboard that we put in there. So hopefully you all have had a chance to get in there and play with that a little bit. We're pretty excited. We think it's a pretty good improvement over the last Data Glance, where you just kind of had the data in there. Now you get a little bit more context on your data when you're looking at Data Glance. So let us know what you think about that. Give us any feedback you have, or if you have ideas on how to keep improving it there. But yeah, we're pretty excited about it. So anyways. We'll go ahead and get started. If this is your first Mazévo Connect, or even if it's not, and you just kind of need a refresher on how these work. So it's today our presenters are going to be Mazévo staff. So Dean, Wendy, and Joe are going to be taking us through some various tools in Mazévo on how to keep your data clean. And this topic, it can kind of seem maybe mundane. It's like, oh, clean data, okay. But the reality is it can actually have a big impact on your system. In fact, last weekend, I just spent the whole weekend cleaning out my garage. And let me tell you, I know it's not quite the same thing, but it is similar, because every time I walk in my garage now, it's like, I just feel so much better. Everything's like organized and it's cleaned up and everything like that. Well, we want you to have that same feeling with your Mazévo data. And there's actually, over the last couple of years, we've put a lot of tools and some effort into giving you some ways where you can kind of clean things up and keep it running clean. Because that just, at the end of the day, if you're able to stay on top of that, it's going to make you more efficient. It's going to make it easier to bring on new users, because they're not having to sift through all this old stuff that doesn't, maybe it's not relevant anymore. And maybe even help you have less mistakes or errors when you do your scheduling. So anyways, we're going to go through some tools and some best practices around keeping your data clean today, and go through that. Now, as we go through the presentation, if any questions come up or something's not clear, or whatever, feel free to put your questions in the chat. We will also, I'm sure, probably have time at the end as well for some Q&A there too. So if you prefer to save your question for the end, we can actually even have you unmute yourself at the end, and you can just ask your question that way. So whatever works for you. But that's the way this is going to essentially roll today. So with that said, and without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our first presenter today, which will be Joe. And I'll let Joe kind of take it away here. And let me go ahead and stop sharing. Get done here. There we go. Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. And welcome everybody to on this Hallow Eve day that we have. So, first one that I'm going to talk about is probably the first one that you really want to perform before the rest of the tools come into play, because it is called delete old event data. And you need, as you probably know, you can't delete a lot of things in Mazévo until you've actually, or with an event on it. So you have to get rid of those old events if you need to delete some rooms or resources or things that you don't use anymore, and or want to, change your workflow or things like that. So we have a function that's called delete old data. It is available only to the global administrators. Okay. So it's not a separate role that you can just grant to somebody. It is part of the global administrator menu. So that menu is here from the drop-down menu by your initials. And there's several other tools in here for administrators. So the one that we have, or I'm talking about, is delete old events. Again, the reason you need to delete old events might be simply because you're ready to clean up some other configuration of your system in Mazévo, or that you might have an enormous amount of data on some old events, and you sometimes need to look at them. Maybe there are events that span more than a year or something like that, and you've got a lot of bookings on them. You can get rid of all of those bookings. So this request that you can submit as an administrator will allow you to delete events. Oh, sorry. I think I have to. Sorry, this was one that I was working on earlier. You can only have one request at a time in the system for a date. Sorry that I should have had that cleaned up before. But the delete old events allows you to click on a date more than a year old and make that request for that data to be removed. So in my system, I could go all the way back to January and say, I want to get everything prior to January 1 of 23, so I get rid of everything in 2022. Okay. Now, this delete of this data will not happen as soon as I click the button delete. All right. It is kind of a process that the system goes through for with some checks and balances. And what it will do is, as it explains here, all global administrators are going to receive the email when you click for delete of this. Okay. That email will then go out 3 days prior to the actual delete, which is going to be a week from now. So I submit it today. It'll be a week from now when the request will actually be processed. The email will go out as soon as I click delete here. And then the second email will go out 3 days prior to that. And then a final one will go out the day before. And then it will delete that, that evening overnight. Okay. It will delete events, bookings, booking resources, and courses. There's no control over what you get to delete or not. It is everything that's within that date range and older. Okay. So if I click on this, it's then going to give me a confirmation page, which is going to tell me that, oh, I've got 623 bookings from that date and older. So I just wanted to kind of, yeah, that's a good number, or I'm okay with that number, or whatever. And then if I just click on yes here, it's going to say, nope, I want to make sure that you really are sure you want to put it in. So it's going to make you actually type into this field in all upper cases as it states to make sure that you have that you really want the request to go in. Again, it is going to be a week from now. It's going to be the date of when the date is going to be done. It's going to tell you when this event or request was actually submitted, and then when it will be processed. Okay. The email that you will get will look very similar to this. This is the one from that other one. I just held it up here. And you will receive this as well as all of your global administrators in your system. And it gives an idea of who made the request and everything. Now, any global administrator could come back into the system, go to delete old events, and then cancel that by putting it into the trash can. So if for some reason there's a business process or something that, wait, oh, wait, I need to double check something on my data and you need to wait, you can always cancel that. Again, this is a global administrator function only. Also, another reason why you may not want to have 50 or 100 different global administrators in your Mazévo system. Okay, get a plug-in for that. All right. So then this will send out the other two emails prior to it being done. And then once it is executed, I have one over here that we've done in our other demo system. And then the register there on that page will look similar to this. This is one that we had done way back. So it deleted 2020 data and older. So this was done in May. It says when it was actually processed, and it says how many events and bookings were actually removed. Okay, so this is your history tracking of all of those requests. So therefore, you still get an understanding of, well, where if somebody's looking for an event or something someday in the future, you can say, oh, that would have been part of this delete. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much that tool. Other than the thing of this is one of those actions you want to do first in the process of all these other tools we're going to show you for cleaning up your data. Okay. I think I'm good.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Next up, we'll have Wendy. She's going to go through some other tools under the administrator menu that maybe you haven't seen before, or maybe you have, but she's going to explain what these are.
Okay, Brian, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to show you some nifty tools. Again, the global administrators will have access to this under the blue arrow. Mine are, what I'm going to show you are the admin tools. So first one I'm going to show you is this inactive organizations. Well, what does this mean? Well, all of you probably have looked at your organizations list and you're like, I don't know when the last time some of these people booked. Who are they? What are they doing? So we have this nifty tool that I'm going to show you right here, Time Inactive, and you can look at their activity within 3 months, 6 months, or a year. So I'm going to select year. And these organizations have not had an event in the last year. And notice that the organization type is here, if they are requestable or not, and then their last booking date. Well, I happen to know the chess club no longer exists. They're defunct. They need to be removed from my system. So I just click on this little box here and disable them. Now, what if chess club comes back? Well, all you need to do, go back to your organizations list, top right corner, go to your filter and show your disabled organizations. There's the chess club, and just remove the disabled box. So don't need to recreate them, just undisable them. Now we've got that same tool for, let's go back to my admin tools, inactive contacts. Again, you probably have a contact list that is miles long. Who are these people? They've graduated, they've left my organization, my church, my synagogue. When was the last time they booked space? Let's go back to that admin tool. Inactive contacts. Again, you can look their activity in the last 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. I'm going to look at the 1 year. And Harper Harms, she hasn't booked since 8/14/2021. I also know that she's long gone. So I'm going to disable Harper, just like that. Remember, you can always come back to your contact list, go to the filter, show you're disabled, and bring Harper back. So don't recreate Harper, just undisable her. If you try to create Harper with that same email address, and some of this has probably happened to you, you try to put her name back in, it will say this contact already exists. That tells you you need to go up here and take a quick look. Has she been disabled or he been disabled? Just bring them back to life. Okay, the third admin tool. Things change at your organization, right? Students graduate, leave your team, contacts associated with organizations change, and employees move on. So here's 3 things that we can do on your events to change. We can change the contact on events. We can change the event coordinator or the organization. So let's start with contact. Brian Jones tells me that he's no longer in charge of HR meetings. So I'm looking now through all my events and I'm saying, okay, Brian, let's take a quick look. What meetings are we discussing? And this takes a little bit because it's looking through all the events. And here they are. Brian's like, look, I don't want to be responsible for the HR meetings anymore. They need to be reassigned to Tony. So I click these 2 HR meetings, click on reassign, and find Tony. Do I want to do this? Yes, I want to reassign these events. So those 2 HR meetings are getting placed underneath of Tony's name. They will still be under the Organization of American Heart Association, but Tony will be the new contact. I'll just show you. Boom. All right, let's go back to our admin tools. More cool things here. Event coordinator. Claire she's gotten a new job. She's no longer going to be an event coordinator on my team, for those of you that use the function of event coordinator. And so all of the events that Claire is the event coordinator on need to be moved to Wendy. So I'm looking for all the events that Claire has been assigned to. I got the slow tool. And I'm going to reassign. I can select this and it chooses all the events under Claire. I'm going to reassign them to Wendy. Okay, let's let that do its business. All right, the next change event tool is the organization. So I have been told that some events have mistakenly been booked under the outreach ministry. So let me take a quick peek. What's been mistakenly booked under the outreach ministry? Bake sale and a car wash, I've been told, need to be put under the youth ministry. So let's take a quick look here. This one and this one need to be moved underneath of the youth ministry. Click on save. Yes, I want to move them. It will keep the contact the same. It just moves the organization. So let's let this do its spin. And now I will come up to the bake sale under youth ministry now. But notice Brian Miller is still the contact. So if there's some mistakes, it's a quick way to take care of that. All right, next tool. Merge contact. What does this do? All right, so let me just go take a look at my contacts list. And I noticed that I have two Kevins in here, Kevin Petoskey at Mazévo.com and Kevin Petoskey at gmail.com. This Kevin is assigned to these two organizations, and this Kevin is assigned to this organization, but it's the same Kevin. All right, so I want to merge these Kevins and I want them to merge the organizations too. So I'm going to come up here to my admin tools, merge my contacts. I'm going to say Kevin Gmail needs to be merged into Kevin my Mazévo. And just like what Joe was showing you, it asks you the question, are you sure you want to do this? And I do. Poof, we now have one Kevin. It will be Kevin at my Mazévo. Just one Kevin. And you'll notice he now has 3 organizations. That is a very helpful tool. We've had to use it a lot. Okay, the next one, merge organization. Let's go take a look at our organizations. I have ABC Corporation, and then I have Alpha Beta Corporation. And I'm sure this has happened at your place of business, that somebody has entered the organization twice with different spellings, but you need to merge them, and you need to merge the contacts that go with them. So let's go to the admin tools, merge our organization, and I am going to merge ABC Corporation into Alpha Beta Corporation. Click on merge, and again, it does ask me. Done. I come back here now to my organizations. ABC Corporation is gone. And it's been disabled. I do want to point out something about the contact one too. The source contact, that Kevin Petoskey at Gmail, he will become, it will delete him unless he is tied to a user account. If he is tied to a user account, he will just become disabled. Okay, over to you, Dean.
Okay, here we go. More tools coming your way. I get the good ones. All right. So again, kind of the order you want to do this is, if you start with deleting your events, it makes all of the tools I'm about to show you more effective. Okay. And what I want to do is start with users. So I'm going to go over here and look at my users. And you'll notice this little option up here on a lot of different things in settings. Just be aware that we're not going to let you delete something that shouldn't be deleted. And to you, that may become frustrating if you're trying to delete a room that you no longer use, but it's been used on an event somewhere. So that concept is throughout Mazévo. We're not going to let you just willy-nilly start deleting stuff and mess up your data. This cleanup tool, in the same vein, lets you come in, and it's going to basically say, well, these are users that you can get rid of. And it's not all the users. It's just there's some special conditions here. So we look at the date created, because if I create a new user today, I don't want them to show up in my cleanup tool as something I can delete. So they've got to be in your system at least a year before we even allow you to clean them up, okay? And we also show you the last time they logged in. So here's Joe Smith. He's got 2 events way back in 2024. He's never logged in, but he's a user. This is a user accounts. So I would encourage you to start with users and go, wait a minute. I know a lot of people here, they load up all of their student organizations and officers. This would be a great way to just go in there and clean them up and say, well, I want to clean up anybody that's not logged in a year, and your security folks would probably appreciate that you're keeping the thing clean. So what this is going to do is it's looking at these. So Chris here is a user, and he has 13 events tied to his corresponding contact record. So users and contacts are different, but they're tightly coupled. A contact can be a user, but doesn't have to be. Because if you had an external organization and said Bob Jones is the contact on this meeting or this conference that's coming up, well, Bob might not be a user of the system, but the other way where you have a user, they can be a contact, okay, as well. So this is showing you if there's a number of events here, they're a contact, okay? So we look at Sean here, no events, no nothing. I can just simply come over here and say delete Sean. And if Sean was a contact, it would disconnect the contact and the user's gone. They can't get in anymore. And if Sean magically came back through the powers of single sign-on or came back to the organization in some capacity, Sean puts his email back in there. It's going to recreate the user account and reconnect Sean to the contact record that was left behind. So, um, so it's kind of a handy little tool. I can feel safe that I can just check them all and say delete, and it's going to go delete all of those users and clean them up. So for people that are bringing in a bunch of student or organizations and officers, that's a real handy tool. Now, the other thing all of these tools have in common, you can actually say show all, in this case, users. Now, this is not very many. Some of you out there have 10,000, 15,000 users. So when you click show all, it might take a minute, but it's got some great information on this screen. Brian, with this email address, is 393 events, earliest booking, latest booking, last login. So you can actually sort this, see what's going on, and then all of a sudden you've got this test account here that's disabled. And so it's showing you a lot of statistical stuff. So a lot of people will, and I'll show you this in rooms in a moment, but it's really handy to go in and see um, just some quick statistics about your users. Now you can look here. The reason this is bold, that user is less than a year old. So we bold it to bring attention to that. But notice there's no checkbox here. So the system is not going to let me delete these using this tool. So I would say after you've cleaned up your events and events and bookings, come over here, and you can do this at any time, actually, in any order, but start with users and go to clean up users and get rid of all of your old users. Because when you do that, it'll also clean up any contacts along with it. So we're going to go there next. I'm going to go to contacts and show you this same tool. And I'm going to hit clean up, and it's saying, well, Tom's in here, no bookings created. I mean, there's just nothing here. Why do we even have Tom in the system? I check the box, I hit delete, Tom's gone. And again, I can show all contacts and I can see those statistics. So if I sort this and go, well, wait a minute, Mickey Maples doesn't have any bookings after 2021. What's going on here? So you could potentially delete Mickey here. But we're in this particular case, we're not. I don't know exactly what's going on with Mickey, why Mickey's not there, but I'll find out for you. Mickey may be disabled. So we could say, I want to show disabled and then go in here. And then here's some more that we can get rid of. So by default, we don't show you disabled contacts. We only show you active ones. It's a good question why Mickey wouldn't let me delete that. So I'll find out for you. And I can hit delete here and get rid of all of these old ones. And now my contacts are a lot cleaner. Okay. But feel free, you don't have to check them all. You can sort them and kind of selectively go, well, they don't have any bookings or they don't have bookings since 2021 or whatever it may be. Same kind of thing here under organizations. I can go to cleanup. And I've got one here. Again, it was created back in 2023. Who created it? No bookings. Doesn't look like the Department of Theater and Dance has ever booked with us. You can delete them. Okay. So that's kind of tool that you can use. And again, you don't have to select them all. You can be cautious about that and go in and individually select them if you want. But those same tools are over here on other things in settings. For instance, rooms. So if I come in here just to show you, Bellator Gallery, I'm just going to hit delete and it's going to come up. And this is the frustrating message. Hey, room's being used by 776. And you go, well, we don't use that anymore. So again, your little cleanup tool here, very handy. It's going to show you rooms that you can delete. But if I say show all rooms, then you'll see the rooms in all of their statistics. So the Bellator Gallery actually has bookings out in the future for next month. So, and then this date created again, this was created within the last year, and it's telling you all the statistics about that. So that just kind of gives you a way of looking at some data and cleaning it up pretty quickly. So that's set up the cleanup tool all over the place. Buildings, we don't put it here because most people, I mean, we do have some people with 100 buildings, um, but you got to clean up rooms first. And we're showing you here. And if a building doesn't have any rooms, you could just delete it. So there's really no point in having a fancy cleanup tool to do that. But again, it's kind of everywhere. Event types, I think Jeff in Florida has the most, maybe, I don't know, 120, 150 event types. I can't believe they'd be used very much. You can come in to clean up and you can see what you can delete and things like that. And again, statistics, which ones use the least, which ones use the most. So it's a really quick way of getting some data. So, and with that, that's what I wanted to show you.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
places, I mean, you can just poke around in there. It's most everything in settings has got the cleanup. So, but with that, I'll turn it back over to Brian.
Thanks, Dean. Yeah, one thing I'll just mention about that cleanup, that really shines when you do the delete old events and bookings that Joe showed you first today. Because as soon as you delete all those old bookings, now you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff that you can clean up because now you've got all of these records that are unused. You'll have event types that are not on any events in the future or whatever it is. So that's why we encourage you to run the delete old events first and then do the cleanups. But like Dean was showing, I mean, cleanup can be useful at any point. So just something to be aware of there. So one thing I'd like to do now, one, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat or unmute yourself that way. But I'd be curious to know, has anybody on the call today run any of these tools previously? And did this give you some ideas on, some things that's like, oh, yeah, I need to go clean some things up or whatever it is. So does anybody have anything they'd like to share that way? Because part of this is about strategies and it's just like, what's working, what's not working for folks. This is a great forum to kind of share that. So yeah, have you had any experience with this and or did this give you any ideas?
Don't be bashful.
Yeah, don't be shy. Nobody's going to judge you. This is a safe space. Oh,
So I
Hi,
think
everyone. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
so I think for us, we are relatively a new user.
yeah.
So a new system, but with building that, this is great to see and to walk through so that we're mindful of keeping everything the way it should be, even though we haven't had it for a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yes. Yeah. It's great to start off with good practices like this. It's definitely going to help you down the road. So, yeah.
Sorry, this is Elise from Bucknell.
Yeah.
We've had Mazévo for about a year and a half, going on a year and a half. And so on my to-do list was to do some cleanup over like winter break time when we're a little slower. And so this is super helpful because there were a lot of things that I was like, oh, that's amazing. So I'm really excited to see this and thank you for sharing.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Elise. Yeah, and that's a good reminder, right? I mean, we are coming into a period where, for a lot of you over the holidays, it will be slower. Maybe you'll have some more time that you can devote to this, and this would be a perfect opportunity. And it doesn't have to be something that you spend a ton of time on. I mean, even if you just go in and take some of the low-hanging fruit, right? Check those cleanup utilities, maybe run a few of those tools that Wendy showed you, just chip away at this. This isn't something that's ever a one and done type thing, and oh, I don't have to worry about that anymore. It's something you'll want to kind of think about as being used on an ongoing basis, like that. And so the best way to do that is just jump in and kind of get started. So yeah.
Gloria had a
Question.
que Gloria had a question there. So, why would you want to delete historical data? Um, well, if you had an event 5 years ago in a room that was torn down in a building or completely remodeled, and the room doesn't even exist anymore, it'd be nice to kind of keep your data clean, and that's kind of what they do. I mean, I think there's folks out there that have some record retention. Gloria, you guys might be one of those where you kind of keep your data clean and don't keep a lot of history out there. Now, I know we've got some people here that started Mazévo just after COVID, and we went back to 2017, 2018 and pulled over some of that history. And I'd almost go, well, for reporting purposes, is it still valid? Is the world pre-COVID the same as it is now post-COVID? Or did your business change and the volumes change that it makes a comparison across those two periods of time useful? So it might be something to let go of, right? So, um, but
Yeah.
that's why you'd want to clean it up. I mean, if you're never going to report on it, why carry it around, right? So, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of agree with him though on like I'm a data hoarder, and when I like to always have historical information, like if clients inquire, I can look back and be like, oh, you did this event and you did all that. Like
yeah,
I get, but obviously you can export any information you want and store it somewhere else.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
not, Tom, we're not trying to get you to clean up last year's events. We're trying to get you to clean up stuff that might be 3 or 4 or 5 years old, right? And I'd say, well, if that client came back and said, I want to do that same event again, well, do you even offer the same catering items, or did the AV change? Did your rooms get remodeled? I mean, are there features in the rooms now that weren't there 5 years ago? And certainly all of the pricing and things like that, you'd have to refresh that. So copying that event from 5 years ago back to today for a future event, then, yes, you can do it. It comes with a little bit of peril. I mean, you'd still want to it'd save you some typing and you'd want to clean it up, right? You'd need to delete stuff and freshen it up. So, but again, the older that is, but yeah, you could always export stuff to Excel and keep those around. So, but do we have any other data hoarders on the call? I know they're out there. You guys don't have to.
I'm not alone. I'm
You're
probably
not
not
alone,
alone.
Tom. You are not alone.
No, you're not. You're not.
No.
So yeah, it's a balancing act, right? It's like there's always this, oh, but what if I need that later?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's the thing. I mean, this is going back to my cleaning out the garage last weekend. I saw stuff that I've been hanging on to years because it was like, well,
What
what if
if?
I
I
need
know I'm
this
gonna need
later?
that.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that someday. And then meanwhile, it
Yeah.
takes up room and gets dusty, and it's just like, ugh. So yeah, it's the constant battle. I get it. So yeah, but yeah.
This is Matt with the University of Oklahoma. We just came online in the last couple months, and I'll say the admin tools and those merge options are something that we used a lot just in that initial piece because we brought over mountains of data. And even though you try to align as much as possible, it was just a lot easier to kind of merge all those pieces or find where you had those duplicates a lot. Those admin tools were very helpful just at the start for us, and we're continuing to use those, weekly still.
Yeah, that's great. Matt, were these you were using those because your previous system, the data from EMS or whatever, had a bunch of like these duplicates in it and things like that. Is that why you were using that?
Yeah, it was a lot easier to identify those duplicate options for us. And as new users were coming into Mazévo's system, there might be a different record in how it was in EMS. So it's just a quick merge together real
Mhm.
fast and get them all aligned.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great reminder too. When you are new to the system and bringing data over, those are some great tools to utilize there. So, yeah.
This is Anna from the University of Minnesota, and I'm really excited for the merging organizations option because we have like some departments that will change the name of the department, but like we didn't know that, and so we made a new department. And it's like, oh, you guys are the same. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now I can just like merge them rather than opening every past event and reassigning to a different
Yes.
organization and context. And so I'm super excited about that. Or we have some departments that were organizations that were put in as like an acronym for their
Mm-hmm.
college, and then the name, and some are like the full name or whatever it is. And so I was just thinking over break that I had some tasks to do with that, but now it'll be way easier to
Yeah.
actually merge those ones that truly are the same. And really, that can be super helpful. So I'm super excited to hear about that.
Yeah. Great.
So
Thanks
Anna,
for
was this the first time you had heard or seen that tool today?
Yeah, or maybe it existed, but obviously it existed before, and I just like didn't realize it. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to use it. I think that'll be great.
Good.
Yeah. No, that's great to hear. And you're speaking to a big reason why we do these monthly webinars because a lot of these things are hidden and we get it. You're busy, you're doing your day-to-day stuff, and it's just not something you're normally thinking about, right? Or you're not gonna go just explore in the system and, try to figure out what all these things do. So again, this is something we've put a lot of emphasis on because we know that over time it pays dividends to keep this stuff clean. So yeah. Anybody else have anything they want to share as far as cleaning up their data or things they've run into?
Okay.
All
All
right.
right, we got a minute. If anybody wants to see a quick tour day at a glance, we could show that. The new.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that'd be great since this is our newest tool and kind of got a facelift here. So yeah, Dean, you want to go through that? And yeah, let's go ahead and do a quick segue here.
So data glance is right here. And I'll pull this up. Really, all we did is put a little lipstick on this front panel. Um, and a lot of people, there's one feature we took out, and I've already heard about it, so it may come back. When you ran the data glance before, you could pick a favorite topic, let's say requests, and it would take you into that. Every time you open data glance, it would go to your favorite panel. And a lot of people use that for requests. So there's a reason why you might not want to do that going forward. So what we've done here, these are called tiles, each one of these. So you can see I've got 6 tiles here. And again, you don't have to have these on here. And I'm using Brian, so I'm going to go to mine, and each user can have their own dashboard, and you can share your dashboard. So if I wanted to share my dashboard with my team, I could simply come over here and say share my dashboard, and now other users can pick my tiles the way I've got it configured. Now, one of the things we've done here is on each one of these tiles, To see it, to go back to the old view, you simply click on it, and there's nothing's changed on this. Okay, so all we did is change the front end. You can click details or you can click the graph and it'll take you into, like today's bookings. If I hit details, here's today's bookings. Okay. So nothing's changed there. If you add a tile, or you can also edit your tiles, there's some stuff here that was not there before. So you can have what do you want to call your tile, what type of tile it is. Okay, and so you can see here we've got quite a few different tiles that you can create. How far back, how far forward, more importantly, what locations do you want and what statuses do you want? So I could come in here and do something like this. This is a whole new feature. I want to add a new tile and I want it to be requests in other buildings. I'm not being very creative today. And it's going to be, what type of tile is it? It's request. And I want only wait list. I could say, let's do this. Let's just make it really kind of crazy. Wait list, other buildings. And then I want all of my buildings except the student center. So I'll just grab a few of these and then save that. And now I get another tile here of request down at the bottom. Wait a minute, it was wait
It's there.
list, so it's right here. I don't have any in wait list, so that was a bad example. But again, you can add, excuse me, clicking around too much there. You can edit these and change them at any time um, and filter them. They can be on there more than one time, which is really the reason we kind of took this on is, well, if I want to see requests in building one and requests in building two separately, let's say two different users are using data glance. I'm in charge of building two, but sometimes I have to back up the building one folks. You could use this to create those tiles and see. Again, you can have as many of these up here. You can actually even create more than one dashboard for yourself. Okay, so you can literally add another dashboard, Dean's number two. Uh, and then I can add tiles to that. Where'd it go? And then add tiles over here. And maybe I just want to see today's bookings. Today's bookings, all statuses, all buildings. And I can have that. So you can have more than one. You can share. You can have tiles on there multiple times. So there is a quick tour of that. Again, all you have to do to get to the way it was before is click on the graph or click on the details button, and you're going to get right back to where you were. We've had a couple people already say, well, it's too many clicks. I'm like, well, geez, that doesn't seem like that many. It's one to get to here. And you can leave this window open because every time you open an event, it's going into a different tab. And so if you're working on the event here, you could just come back over here and hit refresh, and it's going to give you all the requests in that particular tab there. So anyway, a couple things there, but I think that's what I wanted to show.
All right. Excellent. Well, a little bonus there for those of you that stuck around for that. So, well, if there aren't any final questions here, we'll let everybody go. I hope everybody has a great Halloween coming up here tomorrow, and you don't get too spooked out by whatever's going on around you. Thank you all for joining. I will be sending out the recording here in a couple of days, and stay tuned for our last Mazévo Connect of the year, which will be probably early December. We usually kind of skip the Thanksgiving period, and and we'll have a new topic here for you soon. So thank you everybody for participating today. We really appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing you again here soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Yep. Bye-bye.